Okay, good morning, everyone. As Dr. Teo was sharing about Penang, I just realized that the reason I have to speak today, I'm actually missing a big trip. A good bunch of my old friends are actually now in Penang, and I was looking at the Facebook pictures last night. I'm missing all the food, and all the shopping and all that. So we didn't see each other for some time, and it was a gathering I actually missed out because of today's event. So Winston gonna buy me lunch. Huh? All right. So anyway, if you look at the Singapore market today, it's not as sexy as what our friends are sharing from across the causeway. So as Alan shared with you earlier, much of the market sentiments that we are seeing today is top-down policy. It is not due to any economic weakness. It is not due to any unforeseen circumstances that has hit our economy. It's just a political view that prices have risen too fast, too quickly, and for too long. So whatever we are seeing today is quite clearly a direct result of top-down government policies that have clamped down the market. So as Winston was asking me to share this topic, I was wondering what to say. It was buy, sell, or hold. I think as we go along, you decide for yourself. Okay. Okay. So we're going to look at HDB prices for the last 10 years, and just a quick recap of what are the measures affecting you today if you are intending to buy, sell, or hold your HDB flat. What are the direct impact of these measures on the HDB resale market? We're going to look at the top volume selling estates in the last 6 months, and also talk a bit about renting out your HDB flat, because that seems to be quite a sexy option today. All right, so to buy, sell, or hold, as like I said, when we come to that point, you decide for yourself. But we're going to look at a bit into the future. What are the hot spots to perhaps pay attention to in the next 5, 10, perhaps 15 years? All right, so property market is not property is not a short-term kind of investment, and you should always look at it as a long-term perspective. Even though currently you may sense that the market is a bit muted, but I personally, and think if you talk to most of us in the property cycle, you will see that actually the future is pretty good. All right, if everything falls into place. So it's a matter of being more patient. Okay, let's look at the HDB market in perspective. If you look at prices over the last 10 years, all right, and this is public housing, which affects 80% of the Singapore population, prices have risen by 88% over the last 10 years. So it's an average of 8.8% per year, all right, which is faster than economic growth of around 3%. All right, so when this kind of thing happens in a public housing market and for a sustained period of over 10 years, you know that the government has to do something, right? So, but let's look at this chart in perspective. That means anyone who is selling his flat today and he bought his resale flat 10 years ago is almost doubling his money. That means if you have bought a flat many years ago at 200 or 200 plus thousand, you can sell it for 400 plus thousand today. It is almost double, all right? So what are measures that are affecting our market today? All right, you find that rising too fast, too long is not a good thing, because over the last 15 months, the government implemented 7 cooling measures, 7 demand-side measures directing at HDB resale flat. All right, so I'm not going to go through all this, but basically, if you are in the market today, quite a number of these measures basically affect the buyer as well as the seller. Okay, so one of the key things is this, the maximum loan you can get from buying a HDB flat is the 80%, okay? The 80% loan to value ratio, all right? That's if you're taking a loan from the bank, okay? Some people are worried that because if I buy first before I sell, then I won't be able to get the loan because of the MAS policy. But as long as you sign a letter of undertaking with HDB to say that you're going to sell your flat after you buy your new flat, the banks will grant you the 80% loan, all right? mortgage servicing ratio, this is the major factor that is influencing the whole market today. All right, primarily because it caps your loan amount. Anyone who's buying a flat today, all right, for example, if he's simple example, if it's 10,000 income ceiling, 10,000 income, your mortgage servicing cap is 30%, you only have 3,000 to service your loan. But if you look at the average HDB buyer, you're talking about income level between 6,000 to perhaps 8,000, okay? And that basically, if you cap it at 30%, you have very limited amount of money to pay for your monthly installment, which therefore restricts your loan size, okay? And therefore, you find that majority of the transactions today in the market take place of a certain price band. All right, those higher value flats or those people who are looking at selling at higher price, you will find that the market is a lot slower in that market segment. Okay. The other thing is to differentiate between PRs and Singapore citizens. Okay, so for Singapore citizens, if you were to buy another flat before you sell your current flat, you don't have to pay ABSD. There is ABSD remission. You simply have to apply through HDB. It's automatic. Okay, whereas for permanent residents, even if they are SPR households, if they're buying your flat today, they will have to pay 5% as additional buyer stamp duty. So this effectively jacks up their costs. All right, what else? Okay, there's a differential between PRs and Singapore citizens. Okay, for PRs, they are not allowed to sublet their whole flat, so no more. All right, so actually the increase in subletting volume, which I later show you today, actually the Singaporeans are enjoying the fruit of this. Okay, I mean, this policy will actually help us to drive demand our way because the PRs cannot rent out the whole flat anymore. Okay, so must sell, and PRs, if they buy private property, they have to sell their HDB flat. All right, they cannot hold on to both properly. So there's a clear differential between Singapore citizens and PRs today. So actually quite a lot of Singapore citizens, those who have recently taken key to their new private housing, quite a number of them whom I know, they're actually renting out their HDB flat, all right, and getting pretty good return. Okay, the others are supply side measures. Government has introduced some 100,000 new flats in the last 4 years. This seems to be an alarming figure because never in the history of HDB has they built so many flats in such a short time. All right, so actually a lot of my friends who are working in the HDB BTO department, they are OT every night, OT every weekend. All right, never in the history. So this was in the news quite a number of times. People are quite worried that this supply will affect my housing. Actually, not immediately. Okay, not immediately. Basically, any new flat takes 3 years to build. Again, you have to stay for 5 years, so the earliest you could cause any problem in the market is 8 years' time. Okay, but by 8 years' time, proportionally speaking, if our population has grown projected down 8 years down the road, I think we should be able to quite balance it if everything falls into place. Okay, so a lot of if. All right, so basically, the supply looks intimidating, okay, but if you look at it in perspective, actually this year onwards, the government has adjusted the composition of flats. They are not building the bigger units. They have slowed down the number of bigger units that they're building. That means 4-room, 5-room, they have scaled down the numbers. They have bumped up the numbers for 2-room flats because the singles are buying 2-room flats. So overall figure still looks almost the same, but actually the composition of flats, the bigger flat types, government has slowed down the numbers. Okay, so this is MND's from Minister Kaw's blog. Okay, so he still show you the 28,000, 26,000 flats per year until 2017. Okay, but like I said, the composition of flats are being tweaked at the moment. So overall numbers, actually, they are bumping up the 2-room flats to cater to more singles. Okay, so 3-year wait out period. Okay, 3-year wait out period for PRs. That means PRs are taken out of the equation for 3 years, those newly minted PRs. So they have to wait 3 years. So in the time being, they rent. Okay, so that's why the subletting market has been doing very, very good business. Okay, so so that's why the reason that government is bumping up the 2-room is because Singapore, the singles are still way above quota. Okay, so if you look at the last 4 exercise of BTO, the oversubscription rate is still very high. That means out of every flat, okay, you have an average of more than 20 applicants, okay, of singles looking for 2-room flats. So that tells us a few things. Number one, there's a lot of singles, all right? Number two, yeah, a lot of singles, simply a lot. So I don't know why, okay, single by choice or single by no choice. Okay, so there's a big backlog to clear, and this will probably continue for some time, okay? So just bear in mind when you look at the total number of flats sold by HDB, don't be too alarmed. Majority of it is 2-room flat. Okay, they are bumping up the supply. Okay, so revised resale procedure in March this year was basically to address an issue that we have been trying to tackle for a very long time. Okay, earlier in my seminars last year, I was telling you we have this problem that whenever people want to sell flat, they will say how much your buyer willing to pay above valuation. Every conversation center on talking about the premium rather than the price. So nobody in buying HDB flat negotiates about price in the past. They all talk about how much premium you want to pay over valuation. So this, with the turning of the market towards the end of last year, the HDB took the opportunity to revise the procedure. Actually, this was cooking for some time because previously we were involved in some meetings in the past also, and I sort of knew that this was cooking for some time, but they were very hesitant about rolling out this measure. Actually, it was in the cards for a very long time, okay, of aligning the practice to be following private property. Okay, so in March this year, okay, you basically force the seller buyer to negotiate on price. No more COV table to look at. Okay, all the property agencies and all the data provider cannot publish COV anymore. So no more COV reference point. You only have to look at recently transacted prices. Okay, so the good thing is that HDB, where previously they only update their data once a month, okay, now update it on a daily basis. So if you go to the HDB website and you look at the transactions, they are very accurate. All right, they are very, very up to date. Okay, so every is on a daily basis. So now the reference point for buyer and seller is look at the data, negotiate your price. All right, so we are 6 months into the policy change. So what's the impact on the market? Okay, our firm, we do a lot of HDB transactions. About 40% of the resale market transactions are handled by my agents. So from the data that is coming in, we are seeing more and more properties being sold at around valuation. That means valuation is supporting the prices that's being transacted. Okay, so what it means today is 2 things. If you are selling your flat, you are not selling below valuation. You are selling at market price. Number 2 is that because of the revised procedure, you find that the market price is actually stabilizing. In the past, a lot of buyers in the market, they are a bit turned off by the fact that they have to pay premium. So people don't want to pay premium, so they don't buy in the market today. Right? But recently, because the market has started to stabilize and buyers realize that today, if I buy the property, I am buying at market price. All right? More and more buyers are actually coming back to the market. Okay? So the other good news was something we were trying to tackle for a very long time. You know, we always have this transition issue. After I sell my flat, I got no place to stay. My new flat is not ready yet. Usually in the past, all these things are done under table. You know, we need to have an extension of time to stay on, so everything hush-hush, you don't say, I don't say, nobody know. Okay, which is very bad for the market. Okay, so official policy change recently is that now they allow the 3-month extension. That means after the seller has sold the flat, on completion day, during your negotiation, you should already negotiate on this thing for the buyer to allow you to stay on 3 months. Up to a maximum of 3 months after completion date. Okay, so this is a private arrangement between seller and buyer, but the good thing is it is now perfectly legal to do this. All right, it's not like last time it's illegal. Okay, so with a transition issue sort of tackled, I think it also facilitates more people who are want to sell their flat, okay, a transition issue that doesn't put people off anymore. Okay, so what else can I tell you? Okay, so what's the impact of all these measures on the market? Okay, if we look at the price line, okay, the market prices are moderating. Okay, the scale is a bit exaggerated, so the drop looks like very big, but actually it's not lah. Okay, so from the peak to the current is only about 5%. All right, so that's over a year. So it's not significant drop, but what's happening is that the price is stabilizing. The measures are not designed to crash your market. The government cannot account to the 80% of the population if the HDB market price dropped 30% because of government policy. So the measures are very clearly not to drop HDB prices, but to moderate prices that have risen for too fast over too long. Okay, resale volume has stabilized and rebounded. All right, we had a very bad first quarter, but it has since rebounded and is stabilizing, primarily because people realize now they are transacting at market value. And market value today is 88% higher than 10 years ago. So nobody is making a loss today if they will sell the flat. All right, so it's a matter of you sell slightly higher or slightly lower. But the point is that it is a very stable market that promotes a willing seller, willing buyer kind of scenario. Okay. This is an indicator of is the market trading below valuation. Okay, it's some index that we all look at, those of us who use the data. When it's coming down to minus 3,000, that means it gives you a feel that actually transaction prices are around market value area. Okay, so the lesser it becomes, the better it is. That means actually we are all trading at market value. Okay, so prices have softened, okay, but it is not significant. It's 1% per quarter, all right, and year on year is only 5.3%, as I showed you earlier. So the graph is a bit exaggerated, but the cold hard facts is between last year and this year, the price has only adjusted by 5%. Okay, resale numbers are up, okay, and we expect resale volume may continue to increase because sellers in general are more realistic today. Buyers are also, I say, more coming to reality that the seller will not cut price significantly. Okay, so you have more willing seller, willing buyer scenario. It's evolving. Okay, so like I said, after every major policy change, and we have had several major policy changes in recent months, the market takes some time for the dust to settle down and for people to get used to the system. All right, because in the past we were working on a system that was in place for the last 10, 15 years. So the market takes some time to adjust, and from transactions, from feedback, from our agents in the market, I think people are getting used to it. Okay, so it's like in private property, where nobody talks about premium, right? When I buy your house in the private property market, we negotiate based on price. But so we are coming back to that sensible kind of price negotiation, which is a good thing. All right, so main observations, 30% MSR is still a cap. It still affects quite a number of buyers, especially those who are intending to buy higher price flats. Okay, so if you are buying property today, especially buying HDB flats, it will be a good thing to work out your financing first. You better go and talk to the banker or apply for the housing loan eligibility letter, okay, from HDB before you go house hunting. That will actually solve a lot of your legwork. Okay, the huge supply of HDB flats, don't let it worry you, okay? Don't let it worry you, because, like I said, the earliest batch that can hit the resale market will be in 8 years' time. All right, so I wouldn't look too much at it for the time being. So let time take its course. All right, so the thing to note is that prices are continuing to stabilize because they are based on now, negotiations are now based on actual transacted prices. Okay? Let's move on. So momentum going forward, we can expect buying momentum to perhaps trickle upwards, okay? I wouldn't say overall for this year we will do better than last year in terms of volume because we have had a very bad first quarter. We have never seen such low numbers of transaction in the history of HDB resale. So there's a lot of catching up for the market to do in the second, third, and fourth quarter, which I don't think the market will be able to exceed last year's numbers in terms of volume. Okay, but that does not mean that the market has come down. Okay, that simply means actually going forward, the volume is picking up, so it's more stabilizing effect going forward. Okay. Top selling estates by HDB type. So if you stay in the following estates, you will notice that there are certain estates which buck the trend, okay, in terms that there's very high resale volume. Okay, so traditionally, or rather of late, these are the numbers. Okay, if we look at between last year to this year, over this whole 1 year, okay, top selling for 3-room flats is Bedok in Yishun, all right, and Ang Mo Kio, of course. These are traditionally the older, more established estates with a higher number of 3-room flats. Okay, for 4-room, the top seller is Jurong West. All right, and a lot of people are actually moving into Jurong with expectation. All right, that things will be even better. All right, as the Jurong master plan falls into place. Okay, so Jurong, Yishun, Tampines, Sengkang, Woodlands. Okay, for 5-room is similar. A lot of people seem to be moving into Jurong. All right, for a very simple reason, there are a lot of things happening there. All right. Executive, no surprise. Okay, Pasir Ris is a very niche market because the executive flats there are in the pretty good locations and some of them have very nice view. All right, so especially of the sea and all that. So the best place to get sea view is to buy an executive flat in Pasir Ris. All right. Okay, so what about the rental market for HDB? Of late, the trend is that a lot of those people who have recently got their keys to their private condos, they have moved into their private condo and they are renting out their HDB flat. Okay, so transaction volume for rental is very high. Okay, for a very simple reason, okay, there's more supply, there's also more demand. You find that, I don't know about you, but I'm noticing more and more expatriates are moving around the HDB estates. Okay, so we never see them in the past, but we are seeing more and more expatriates, okay, from Western countries in and around HDB estates. Okay, why? Okay, it's an evolving trend. A lot of them, today, the expatriates, they are coming in, they are middle management, okay, their rental budget, everything is all thrown into the salary. So they give you one pay, you go and find your own accommodation. All right, so gone are the days where the company would go and lease the property for you and then you become an expatriate. All right, so today's expatriate package is totally different. So a lot of them, very practical reasons, they go into the HDB market for obvious reasons. The budget is, it better fits their budget. They will have more money to do other things. Okay. Rental volumes fell slightly, but it's still between last year. Last year, the average per quarter is 7,005 units. This year, the average per quarter is 8,005 units. So there's a big jump between last year and this year, okay, transaction volume. Okay, so a lot of people are actually renting out their flats, and also because of the change in policy, okay, that drive all the traffic to Singaporean owners' home. All right, okay. I don't know. Like, I just share a story with you. I've been telling a lot of you because it's very real. A friend of mine just got his keys to his new condo in Jurong. Okay, Lakeview one. Okay, so he stays in a HDB flat. Okay, 5-room HDB flat. But his 5-room HDB flat is in a very good location, walking distance to MRT station. All right, but they are typical HDB upgraders. They just bought a private property for investment, and every day they are so house proud. They will go to his wife, who's a Minister of Home Affairs, okay, will every day go to will every day go to the new condo, okay, and just do something to clean it up, you know, and then she'll spend the afternoon lazing by the pool, you know, just to enjoy the thing. I was telling them, why don't you all move to your new home, okay, and rent out your HDB flat? Because they've been trying to rent out their private condo, okay, for the past 2 months. No takers. Okay, no takers, all right? Because there's a lot of private condo just got TOP. So you're fighting with everybody. And the new units, I don't know about you, if you have taken possession, the new units are getting smaller. All right, the new units are getting smaller. So a lot of those expatriates who are wanting to rent the private condo, there are actually quite a few viewings already. And the first feedback, people say it's so small. You know, it's a 3-bedroom compact, you know, 3-bedroom compact. All right, it's very small. All right, so while you have 3 bedrooms, it's very small. So a lot of the expatriates are not used to this size. So I was saying, why don't you just move into your condo? I think you can definitely rent out your HDB, and you can rent it out within, I think, 1-2 weeks. You know, since it's so conveniently located, and you probably get a better return on your investment than if you try to hold out for your condo. So he's seriously thinking about it, and I hope he will change his mind. All right. So it's a reality of the market, it's transition. Okay. The other thing that I think Alan shared with you earlier on, that vacancy in private property seems to be increasing. Okay, it's a reality. Okay, because a lot of units, rental demand has slowed down, budget also getting smaller. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I'm seeing an evolving trend. Okay, evolving trend. So some people are very innovative. Instead of trying to rent out the whole unit nowadays, they'll rent out the private condo, they'll rent out the bedroom. Okay, I rent out 3 bedroom, add together, I get higher rent than if I rent out the one 3-bedroom apartment. So there's an evolving trend today. All right, okay, so these 3 guys who just got to learn to live together, right? Not easy, okay, but at the end of the day, you get better rent. Okay, so subletting, I think the market will continue to be around 8,000 plus units per quarter. We may see it trickle upwards because there are simply more flats available, and budget-conscious tenants are actually looking at these units. Okay, but I don't think you can increase your rent beyond $3,000, because with $3,000 I can get, okay, private condo. Okay, buy, sell, or hold? Very hard question to answer. Okay, my first thing is this: if your current flat serves your housing needs well, okay, there is actually no pressure for you to sell. Because some people are of this thinking, if I don't sell now, the price keep going down, later drop further, how, you know? So my point to you is this: if if your current house serves your needs, all right, in terms of location, size, functionality, then you are actually under no pressure to sell. Don't sell because you are worried that the price will drop, okay? So over the longer term, actually things are looking pretty bright. Okay, there's a projected population growth towards 2030. Okay, you must think in future. All right. For now, is a moderation of the market, which is a political will of the government. Okay, so we are fighting policy. It's not fighting weak economic fundamentals. All right. I think Alan showed you the economic fundamentals were doing pretty good. Okay, it is just top-down policy. Okay, if you are looking to buy today, don't go and look at people's house and take a big knife and slash the price down, because nobody is under pressure to sell. Okay? But the good thing to know is that most sellers today who are serious about selling, they are more realistic. Okay? They are not like last time, say, you don't have this price, forget it, don't go and see my house. Okay? But nowadays, if you are looking at a house and you are serious, they are prepared to come to an agreement with you of what is a doable price for both parties. It has to be a win-win. Okay, so if you of this impression that the market has fallen, and if you follow some people thinking that I must buy future price my house, I must buy with 6 months price down the road, and 6 months price is lower than today, then nobody will sell you. Okay, because today nobody is under pressure to sell. All right, but they are willing to sell you at a price which both parties can negotiate. So where to get the guidance? Look at the transacted price. Okay, the transactor price, which is not updated every day. Okay, it basically gives you a very clear feel of where the market is heading. You will notice that nobody fire sale today. There are no fire sale prices. All right, it is quite stable. Okay, and one more thing, if you're buying a house today, you have to do your finances first. It's more complicated. I won't say it's harder. It's more complicated to get a loan today. Okay, the lenders will look at a lot more things. So you got to check your financing, get your a good idea of the budget that you have before you go house hunting. That will save a lot of your legwork, okay, and a lot of your agent's legwork. Because I don't want to have to show you 10 houses, then you say, oh, I cannot afford. I have to show you all over again. So people will faint. All right, so it will save a lot of legwork. Okay, selling. If you are in the market today to sell because you want to move on, then realistic price is the way to go. Okay, realistic price means you don't turn away an offer which is 30,000 lower. Okay, which realistic price is, say, you want to hold out to wait for another 30,000. Okay, then you think. All right, so the thing is this, realistic pricing is the way to go. It's a willing seller, willing buyer market today. Okay, if you turn away the offer, the buyer will walk, okay, and that may increase your time on the market. And in the long run, if your unit stays on the market for a much longer time, it's not to your advantage. Eventually, you may end up selling at an even lower price. Okay, so time on the market has negative impact on the house price eventually. So I would try to get the best possible price in the shortest possible time. Okay, so monetization options for seniors, I think a lot of this was done during PM's rally. I think everybody is pretty clear about it. But basically, the good thing is this monetization option is not extended to 4-room flats. So if you combine 4-room and smaller flats, it's basically the majority of the flats in Singapore. So for seniors who need the money and who are prepared to consider the lease buyback scheme, I think there's a lot in it for them. Okay, so, but there are various other options. But to me, I think, talking to some of the older people, I realized that a lot of people don't really buy the lease buyback scheme. Okay, because why? They are afraid that if they buy back the lease, I live longer than the amount of lease that I have. I got no more house to stay. Okay, so that's the initial worry. The other thing is that some people have the plan to perhaps leave the flats to their children and all that. So there's this Asian thing about holding on to the property. Okay, so it's probably only useful to people who are open-minded and who are more willing to try out the system. Okay, but I've also spoken to a few people and I think they are very realistic about it. So if you need money, like a large capital sum straight away and all that, actually the most viable option is perhaps sell your larger flat and buy a studio apartment. Okay, you sell your larger flat, you buy a studio apartment, you still end up with 30 years lease. Okay, don't worry. And you get a nice size apartment for just you or you and your partner. All right, so, and you have a sum of money in your hand. All right, so that's a possible option. Okay, let's look at the future. Okay, like I said, all these things are not going to happen like tomorrow. You've got to take a longer term, 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Okay, where are the hot spots? Okay, we are all worried about oversupply, but you must also look at the demand side. There is a concerted effort by the government to build the population to 6.5 to 6.9 million in about 15 years' time. All right, in about 15 years' time. So there is demand coming in, and there's the way we are restructuring the economy today is that there will be sustained economic growth. So this means that fundamentally there is demand for housing over these 10 to 15 years. So everything, if it falls into place, all right, we are okay. All right. A few things to note is this: MRT will be the in thing in the future. So if you are located near an MRT, all right, you can expect a premium. So like Alan was sharing this morning, the price differential can be 30 to 40% even. Okay, near MRT and not near MRT. Okay, so this is already covered by enough analysts in the papers. The TEL line is going to Just announced only, so a lot of people become very excited, but don't forget this is a 10-year project. Okay, it's not going to happen tomorrow, okay? It's going to take 10 years to realize this. Okay, and for the next 10 years, if you are living near the MRT station, good luck to you. All right? Okay, but look at it from a long-term perspective. In terms of public housing, Marine Parade and perhaps Bedok South is likely to benefit because previously you don't have an MRT line, now you have an MRT line, and that will drive demand for flats into, for people looking at resale flats into the area. Previously, people who need public transport will not consider the area, okay, because there's no MRT. Now there is, okay? So this is future-proofing your house going forward in the next 10 years. Okay, the other thing to remember is the regionalization concept of the government. This is a long-term plan. We are not only going to have a current CBD, we're going to have one CBD and 4 regional centers. Okay, so homes in and around regional centers will command a premium. We are seeing it falling into place. Okay, so this is the original drawing many years ago. Actually, this is many years ago drawing. Okay, so they already had this plan to have this everything linked up to the central area long time ago. Okay, and we are having now very clearly all these regional centers. So you have the central area, you have the Tampines, you have Jurong, Woodlands Regional Center, and Seletar Regional Center. And in between, you have your other growth areas. Okay, so these are hot spots. Okay, hot spots. And I think currently we are seeing Jurong fall into place. Right, Jurong is falling into place, and a lot of excitement happening. Okay, it's going to be a major CBD outside of the central area. All right. Okay, the 4 regional centers, Tampines is quite successful. Okay, those of us who stay in Tampines, you realize that the values of property there hold pretty well simply because it's in and around the regional center. Okay, the Jurong Lake District, okay, is going to be a 15-year project. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Okay, so there's a 15-year plan for this. All right, it's 2.5 times Tampines Regional Center. So this is the largest regional center outside of the CBD. All right, and things are falling part by part into place. Okay, some things you need to pick up from what PM Lee said. Okay, so they are going to transform Jurong Lake District, which was announced. They are going to build a new science center at around the lake. So they're going to relocate the science center, which leads us to speculate. Where will be the train station for the high-speed rail? What do you think? The current science center, right? This one not announced yet, but it's all speculation. Okay, why on earth would you suddenly relocate the current science center? Okay. All right. So, okay. So transformation in the place, a lot of things gearing up for Jurong. That's why you can see HDB transactions for Jurong area is traditionally the highest, especially for 4 rooms and 5 rooms. Okay, on a quieter side, Woodlands is developing. Okay, and it's just across the causeway from all those major skyline transformation. Okay, that we are seeing every day in the newspaper and in the TV. All right, so it's a lot happening. Okay, so if you stay there, you have a very nice skyline to look at across the road. Okay, but regional center means there'll be more offices, more commercial space, and this will fall into place over the next 10 years. So in and around there, you can expect your values to go up. Okay, the other one is the aerospace in Seletar. This is a longer-term plan, so you find that a lot of things happening. All right, this will benefit Punggol, Sengkang area. Okay, the 2 regional centers, Paya Lebar. Okay, Paya Lebar is also a commercial hub that's falling into place. So if you're housing around there, you can also expect it to increase in value. And over the next 10 years, where the airport, Paya Lebar Airport relocates, you can expect the height restrictions possibly to be lifted. Okay, so that will result in more intensive use of land around there, and therefore impact values in a positive way. Okay, One North is the biomedical hub, okay, and research and a lot of things happening around there. So also you will see a gradual transformation of this area. Already is about, I think, half, okay, half of One North is developed. There's still another half, okay, that's going to be there. And I think MediaCorp will eventually move there, all right, in the years to come. Okay, the other two fringe center, Kallang. All right, Kallang is just outside of the CBD area, okay, and it's also evolving, okay, riverside housing with a lot of excitement, all right, around there. Novena Fringe is the medical hub, okay, but, all right, so a lot of medical business coming in and around there, okay. The other big thing is Punggol. What you see in Punggol today is only 1/3. Okay, there's still another 2/3 that's falling into place over time. Okay, over time. So a lot of waterfront housing. Okay, and once the place is developed, I think it's will be a very attractive place. Okay, you find that the town planning for Punggol is very different from our traditional HDB towns. I think one of the advantage that it started from scratch. Okay, there is plain green, we call it. You start from scratch, so it's pretty different. Okay, the town plan is very organized, not like our more mature towns where you have to build around what is the existing buildings. Okay, this will start next year, Bidadari. All right, they have put into place plans. The first land sales and the first public housing will launch next year. All right, so once this launch, this is the next Bishan. All right, this is the next Bishan. So it will bring up the values probably of properties in and around Bidadari, which is okay, MacPherson, Potong Pasir, okay, stuff like that, part of Serangoon, okay, part of Upper Serangoon. All right, so this is highlights. Okay, so that's all I have. All right, I think I have exceeded the time that I have. So thank you very much. I'll see you again later at the panel discussion.